All right, we have audio. I'm also broadcasting here on Ustream for those of you who are around. I'm going to start broadcasting on Ustream for all to hear. Not the training sessions like today. We'll shut this off just before we start training. But we're going to do a little bit here in the beginning. But I will have the audio and the video on Ustream for the trading day. And this is, of course, a design to let people know about what we're doing. And of course, we talk a lot about a little bit about politics and about trading and about psychology and things like that. And we're going to do this for a week or two and just see how it works. And if it ends up being good, then we'll try and find a way to incorporate it more long term. Before we get started, take a look at a move that's happening right now in the Aussie. Gartley pattern setting up here. Something like this. You guys take a look at that. Pressing up into the 1414, go ahead and sell them 99.40. Stops above the spike high here. You take your ATR 38. One ATR should be sufficient because if we look left here, you will see there's additional resistance here. Highs coming in 54, 65. 65 plus 38. Somebody help me out with my math. $103. So we've got 99.65. $168 for stops. Boom, right there. Is that right? Did I do that right? High 99.65 plus 38. That's I'm retarded. Yeah, that wasn't right. 106. Right about there. That makes more sense. So I'll let you guys, can we have the link? The link for what? Help. So that's the Ustream, www.forextraderslive.com in the bottom right-hand corner. So there is the Gartley pattern for this morning. Something to look at, something to watch. And we'll see where that ends up going. Now, big news for those of you in the U.S. is the fact that this deal might actually get passed on tax cuts for the wealthy. I love the way they call it the wealthy. What they ought to call it is tax cuts for those who pay taxes, or tax cuts for those who create jobs, or tax cuts for those who contribute to the vast majority of growth in the country. That's what they ought to say. But they're not going to say that. They're going to say tax cuts for the wealthy. Even though the tax cuts are for those making more than $250,000 a year, they'll call it tax cuts for billionaires and millionaires. And I don't know about you guys, but there is a significant gap between $250,000 and $1 million. I know. And anyway, so as we take a look at this, guys, while that is while they continue to talk and haggle and fight over that here in the U.S., the big news, Wall Street Journal weekend, Germany vows defense of the euro. This is a pretty significant deal. This basically means that, they ain't playing games. And if you read this article, Germany says that Germany is the largest of European Union countries. They are the ones that have the deepest pockets, and they have vowed that they are going to hold the euro. They're going to do whatever's necessary, and That's serious stuff. That means that could radically change the landscape on a fundamental level for a lot of people if they do decide to do that. Now, what they're doing is I have my own. This type of article generates my gets my internal Glenn Beck going, because what this really is saying is that what Germany is ready to do is accept a closer tie between the European nations, a closer fiscal tie. Um, and that goes into that whole new world order thing and all of that, where a lot of the European countries really favor a one world government type of system, and this is one way to achieve that, is to take all of these small countries and say, hey, look, we're going to bail you out, we're going to do all this, but you're going to accept certain restrictions now on how you spend money. We're going to make some decisions about how you do that. We're going to decide, what you're allowed to do and what you're not allowed to do, and we're basically going to take slowly, piece by piece, your sovereignty away from you. If you read this article and you read between the lines, that's really what they're talking about. And at some point, that's what's going to be necessary in order to hold the European Union together. Is that it is not going to be a collection of individual states. It's going to be one state. Although you may have a shell of local governments, it will be quite different than it is now. And that is one potential outcome, and that's why I say when I read an article like this, it channels my Glenn Beck. If any of you have ever watched his show, he's out there, man. He's got some wild ideas. He's crazy. But anyway, so but that's the real news. Not whether or not this thing's going to get done in the U.S. They're going to pass something. It's going to be watered down and not nearly as powerful because we've got a bunch of spineless Republicans that won't stick to their guns. But they'll get tax cuts passed, and they will give a whole bunch of stuff away in the form of unemployment benefits and whatever else Nancy Pelosi can squeeze out of people. So that's not really the issue. The issue, of course, again, and the European Union loves to do this. They love to put out news over the weekend. So you get these large gaps in price action. And I've got my own opinions as to who's benefiting from that. But basically, what I'm trying to get at is, this is something that is unique that's happening here in Europe. This is something that could definitely be lending itself more towards, an eroding of sovereignty of some of these nations if they take money from the European Union to be bailed out. And that's going to further hinder them from growing as independent nations. And so, it's neither here nor there, to each their own. But that if that ever happens here in America, I'm going to be on a plane to Peru or somewhere like that, down to South America. But anyway, questions, comments, concerns. We're going to talk today, and I'm going to get ready to shut off the Ustream broadcast here. But we're going to talk today about either one or of two things, and I am set up to talk about backtesting. But when I came in and sat down today, the money management section covers both money management and backtesting, and I want to know from you guys, as we go into the Christmas holiday, which one would you rather know about? Which one would you rather hear an hour and a half long dissertation of? I'll let you guys decide that. Wow, it's absolutely back and forth. I think money management's winning, man. Backtesting, money. Well, it sounds like money management's winning. Yeah, David, we'll talk about the rest of it after the holiday. We got another month in here. Again, you guys got an extra month in here because of the holiday schedule. So we've got all of January to cover the rest of this stuff. Lots of time. All right, well, we'll talk about money management then. I'm going to get rid of this. We'll pull up the get online. Let me get the website up here and grab some money management stuff. this is what we want. Hang on a minute. How was everybody's weekend? Great. I think I am caught up on all of the information for those of you who sent me trading plans. All of you guys who have sent me that stuff, I should be up on that. So if you sent me one and I didn't respond to it, or you haven't gotten it back, send me an email and say, "Hey, Jason, you didn't respond to mine." But if you have done it, if you sent it to me before yesterday, I went through yesterday or the day before and went through all of the trading plans. You guys are doing a great job on that. Although I had some critiques for some of you, and suggestions for a few, most of them were really solid plans. I could tell you guys have put a lot of effort into it. Some of you had spent a lot of time working on your trading plan and trying to really make it as detailed as you possibly could, and that's fantastic. Let me go ahead and get the recording started here so that we can kick off this training session. And then we'll kick it off. All right. And for those of you who are wondering about last week's training session, the one that has not been wasn't recorded in, oh dadgum, I'm losing my train of thought this morning. For those that wasn't recorded in a WMV, so you could download it. It was an MP4. I'm going to change that today. So those of you who have been emailing me and emailing Darren, don't get your panties in a twist. We'll get that fixed up today. And I apologize for that. I actually had to be out of town. My daughter, for some reason, my wife, or in her hometown back in Podunk, Kansas, was having her church was having a little thing for all the little kids where they get up and sing. I don't know if you guys' church or where you guys worship, if you guys worship, there's some place there for you. They do a little Christmas presentation, but they did it at this church, and for some reason, my wife managed to finagle my kids a spot in that deal. And so I had to drive all the way out to central Kansas this week to do that for them and to sit there and watch them. And my daughter, of course, gets up on stage, and I'm very excited. I have the video camera out, and I've got everything. I'm ready to hear her sing. And for the next 20 minutes, she stands there and smiles. Just biggest grin. We're on the front, front row or second row back, and just huge grin on her face the whole time. Not one note, not a single one. I got 20 minutes of video of her standing there looking cute. So anyway, my wife and I got a good chuckle out of it, and I drove home late last night to be here with you guys today. So there it is. That was my weekend, and quite enjoyable in all honesty. Let me set an order here. And then we will get started. All right. Let me shut down Ustream now for those of you who were